Hello, my spooky darlings, and welcome to Streams and Screams, the online show thing, in which I watch a film that is currently streaming online that I liked, and I tell you about it. Today, first things first, obviously there's some new merch, which is exciting. So you can find this, you can find some toques, you can find some 90s night merch, you can find lots and lots of Black Fawn distro films, t-shirts, Blu-rays, blacklist packages, patches, other kinds of hats, lots of merchandise in general over at the Black Fawn distro store. We have a new one, it's exciting. There will be a link somewhere below where you can find those things. So check it out. Today, I am talking about a film that is available on Netflix for all you Netflix hounds out there. This is a film that I absolutely cherish. I think it is such a fantastic blend of genres that we don't normally see together. There's a bug in here. I caught it. That's fun. Anyways, this is a film that is a fantastic blend of genres that we don't typically see together, which is very exciting. I am talking about Bone Tomahawk by writer-director S. Craig Zahler. Now, S. Craig Zahler has also done some other phenomenal, less horrific, but also incredible films, Dragged Across Concrete and Brawl in Cell Block 99, which are both absolutely amazing, really great thrillers, really great sort of action-heavy, emotionally punchy films. So highly recommend both of those films. Another film that he wrote, he did not direct it, but The Incident, aka Asylum Blackout, which I highly recommend. I think it is extraordinarily underrated, and it is a film that personally is on my list of situations I would not want to be in at all. It's terrifying. I love it. It's not streaming, or I'd talk about it. So instead, we are here to talk about Bone Tomahawk, which is a phenomenal Western horror blend. It does have all the trappings of a classic Western in terms of period, in terms of costume, in terms of aesthetic, in terms of dialogue. It is very well written in terms of the snappiness of the conversations, in terms of the quick-witted dialogue, the very one-two punchiness of it all. Now, this film is absolutely packed in terms of great performers. You have Kurt Russell, Matthew Fox, Patrick Wilson, the greatest performance I've ever seen, Richard Jenkins as Chicory, who is just a heartbreaker in this, not in the typical heartbreaker fashion, but in a way that you just want to wrap him in a blanket and tell him everything's going to be okay. He's so endearing, and I love him so much. So Bone Tomahawk is a film about a group of settlers who get attacked in the midst of the night by a group of troglodytes, and some are dragged off into the hills to await a terrible fate. The sheriff of the town, Kurt Russell, his deputy, Richard Jenkins, and a couple of the other lads ride off into the sunset to try and save them. And what follows is a particularly surprisingly gnarly, sun-scorched, unsettling ride into a terror that we don't often see. So these troglodytes are cannibals, they are vicious, they are animalistic, and it's really upsetting what they do. If you've seen the first Terrifier, I feel like it got ideas from this movie, but Bone Tomahawk did it better, in my opinion. I will also say the Bone Tomahawk did it first in 2015. Terrifier was 2018, so don't come at me with your nonsense, because he did it better. I'm sorry, he did. Wow, I'm thinking about that scene now, and it's the screaming that does it for me. Sorry, I got lost there for a minute thinking about something really brutal and upsetting and very good. So, Bone Tomahawk, again, has some incredible performances from its stacked cast of actors. The script is really delightful in that it kind of creates this energy of like a do-si-do that you've never really seen before, but you somehow are comfortable with all the steps. It just flows so nicely together, and the repartee between characters is really wonderful. The character development is very wonderful and heartwarming as well. Honestly, like Chicory, Richard Jenkins' character, I would die for him. I would. He's incredible and just breaks my heart. I've never seen a monologue about a flea circus that has filled me with such sorrow and heart and emotion about a flea circus. So Richard Jenkins, sir, it kind of reminds me of his performance in Shape of Water, but it's a lot more old-timey Western and just so endearing. So I could wax poetic about that particular character and that particular portrayal for like, I don't know, half an hour or so. So I'm not going to do that because that would be a waste of everyone's time. And I feel like we have other things to talk about. Something to note as well about this film is that aesthetically it is absolute perfection. S. Craig Zahler has a attention to detail that kind of reminds me of Robert Eggers in that he really pays attention to period details and gets them right in a way that makes you feel like you're watching something from a different time period and in better quality. So kudos to Zahler for being able to capture and create the feeling of that classic Western film from days of yore while also making it look absolutely fantastic. Again, the brutality of this film, one of the things that I love about Bone Tomahawk is that it really sneaks up on you. You kind of get this false sense of security, this false sense of the good, the bad, and the ugly, fistful of dollars type of gunslinging Western, typical, very classic. But then something will happen that just breaks a little part of your brain with its violence. So something that's really special about S. Craig Zahler's direction is I've talked before about Green Room and Jeremy Saulnier's element of just sort of showing a flash of the violence that makes you feel like you've seen a lot more. S. Craig Zahler kind of relishes in the violence. It breaks down the mundanity of it a little bit at the same time, where when you see something, it carries on for so long and so straightforward, so simply that it's like nothing to the people perpetrating this particular act of violence, but you can see the effect it has on the bystanders, on the onlookers, on the receivers of this violence. So that's something that really kind of hits home in a way because you feel so much more violated by that particular bit of aggression. Again, my brain's stuck on that one scene. It's really brutal. Let's talk a little bit about the performers other than Richard Jenkins, because again, adore him in this. But Kurt Russell is also just a wonderful, this just feels like a role he's just comfortable in. This feels like a character that he could live in and has lived in and will continue to live in for long periods of time because he just seems settled into it. You can tell that he really appreciates his character, understands his character, and respects his character. Patrick Spooky Daddy Wilson, love to see him in any horror films. He's fantastic in The Conjuring and Insidious and literally everything. So it's exciting to see him do something a little bit more rustic, shall we say. You know, this film really made me understand and appreciate and be grateful that they also understand and appreciate the relationship between a man and his horse during this time period because, you know, that was your main method of everything. That is both a necessity of your profession, a point of your livelihood, and also a deep emotional connection with an animal because we have them and that's not to be neglected. Bone Tomahawk, I think, is a rarity in that manages to do this kind of Western horror very, very well, and also in a way that doesn't make it feel gimmicky in the slightest. I greatly value and appreciate what S. Craig Zahler has done with this film. I think he's an extraordinarily talented writer and director. Again, Silent Blackout, so good. I keep thinking about that movie. But if you have not seen Bone Tomahawk, I highly recommend it. It is available, again, as I said, on Netflix. You can watch the trailer here somewhere. We're going to include the link there for it because I can't show it anymore or they get mad at me. So if you would like to pair this film for a fantastic double feature, I would recommend either The Burrowers, which is another excellent Western horror film available on Tubi, Or you could also check out Exit Humanity, which is a Black Fawn distro feature, also available on Tubi. So, triple feature it. Have a whole Western weekend if you dare. Okay, so again, you can watch the trailer at this link here, wherever it is. I'm bad at judging that distance, but check it out, and you can follow us on Black Fawn Distro and find more movies to watch. Bye!